Hello and welcome back to the letter. And we're getting called by Mr. Rose. I have a feeling, because we're hearing static right now, I have a feeling it's not her, but I could be wrong. His voice crackles from the loudspeakers before I can put it back. Although muffled heavily by the surface, I recognize the person on the other line from her chipper tone.
Hello? Miss Cooper?
Maybe it's a bad connection, I guess?
Oh, you're still awake. Evening. I hope I didn't disturb you or anything. I know it's a bit late. Sorry about that. I just want to check on you and Isabella. That girl's still not answering her mobile.
Oh, she's asleep right now.
Were you able to meet up with her?
Yes. She's with me. We're on our way home.
Hello? What was that again? I can't hear you properly.
I have a feeling some of the ghost is just going to interrupt and just come in on the call.
Sorry. Let me just fix this dumb phone.
My hand stops dead for a moment. Spares the device a brief glance waiting. Seconds pass, nothing happens, though frankly I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but the lion's mouth forms into a frown
Miss
regardless.
Cooper?
Yes, still here.
Did you say something?
Just that I didn't get the last part. What were you saying again?
No, I thought you... Never mind. Must be the signal acting up.
Nope, that's not the signal.
Coming in?
What?
Is everything all right over there?
Certainly. Is something wrong? What wouldn't? Okay, you seem to be busy. If this is a good time, I can just call you back some,
I have to make a conclusion effort not to panic right then and there, although my tight hold on the steering wheel tells a different story
Miss
altogether.
Cooper? Rose? Hey, Rose! Are you still there?
And burst of static answers me, and I still have no clue what to think about this because I'm like, does it want help or is it just out to kill people? I have no clue. Maybe this last is entirely because of exhaustion. It has been a long day and I haven't fully recovered from last week's bout of flu, contrary to what I've been telling people. Though perhaps had I paid closer attention to it, had I not been so occupied with other thoughts, I probably would have noticed earlier that it never came from my phone, from somewhere right behind me. Okay, hello, ghost. Time slows to a crawl. Looking up is a mistake. The first thing I see is its face. It has a shade, every inch battered, bruised, and bloody. Even the darkness and the word passing by in a blur of lights outside still make out the wounds. Blood still oozes from it, little trails of crimson running down its face, glistening under what little light there is. But it is the gleam in its eyes that catches mine. Quite plead the anguish, the desperation in them, more than its hideous features and the awful stench of gore now soaking in the air. And try as I might, I can't bring myself to look away, even as its lips contort into a horrific smile. Even as, oh god, oh, do I have to do Q to make sure I don't crash? Even as the sharp, harsh noise pierces the air and the silence around us.
Rebecca! Car! Eyes on the road!
Well, at least you're awake. Against everything I've been taught, and I've constantly reminded myself I close my eyes. Are they good? It's a brief moment, a short, vivid second of muscle memory and instinct completely taking over. If I didn't allow it, if my hands didn't move, or my feet didn't hit the brakes in the exact second, Isabel and I might have, shake the notion away before I lose myself in it. Now it's an ugly line of thought I refuse to venture into. Not when breathing is a struggle and every ounce of strength has been totally drained from my body. Most definitely not while Isabel's panicked voice beside me still rings in my ears. We're alive. We're safe. All that matters. But it is not her face that I look for when I finally open my eyes. All gone. Expected stains, little telling marks and I'll link out Leo. Not now, Dale. Stay out. I was probably not going to kid out because I'm probably not going to remember. Anyways, expect stains, little telling marks, grease on the covers to show me where it's at not a second ago. But whatever it is, left not a single trace. And though courage is a hard thing to gather at this point, take what little of it remains in me and turn towards the backseat. Even then, there's none. Or was there really something in there in the flat in the first place? With how empty it is, I'm beginning to doubt it. Stupid flu again.
I need a long rest after this.
My hands fall uselessly to my sides, numb from how taut my grip on the wheel has gone, yet still trembling from the unexpected rush of adrenaline. As my heart still pounds in a wrecked rhythm, and my breathing hasn't slowed down. The world has already right itself without waiting for me, and little by little, second after second, I sit here motionless. Color begins to seep back around me. Along with it are the sounds and voice, no longer the indistinct ringing it was
Rebecca!
earlier.
Becca! Are you okay? Answer me, will you? You're scaring me! You know what? I think we should just call a taxi since... Can you keep it down?
Strained, harsh, and completely unintentional, but with heat prickling at the back of my eyes and the mild throbbing at my temple, I could honestly do with a little silence for now.
Keep it down? We almost crashed, Becca! I know what happened. It was a lapse. I'm sorry. A lapse? You call that a lapse? Becca, I really don't want to end up a mangled mess on the side of the road, or a mangled mess anywhere. All I'm asking, if the time ever comes, which I hope isn't right now, is a peaceful death. Give that one to me at least. Not that I'm asking for it, but please.
Okay.
Isabella. Belle, you're overreacting. If you're so worried, why don't you drive? Don't have a license. I keep telling you to get one, didn't I? For the past 5 years. Do you see why now? I wasn't really expecting to stay here this long. I thought it'd just be for a year or two.
All of a sudden, a pensive mood comes over her. Isabella looks away then, while what's left of my little lecture never crosses the tip of my tongue. I don't allow it to, because in each of those words she let loose earlier is a small truth. Her stay has always been meant to be something fleeting. Earn some good money, go home, it's what she'd tell herself during the first year here. Now, half a decade later, I'm not sure if she still believes that. I'm not sure if I still believe it, and if there's something in her reasons that has changed all along the way, even if I already have a hunch, it's one thing I'll never bother to ask. Those are hers.
I'll be careful this time, I promise. Just please, can we give this whole thing a rest for now?
She nods, and that is the end of it. Okay, so would this be the last one? Yes, it is. Okay. We spend the rest of the trip back to Salem well in silence. All thoughts of an overactive imagination playing tricks on a idled mind, and of smiles and never meant for my eyes, abandoned only for a brief moment. I'm surprised how early it's affected her compared to the others. Then again, no. Either Hannah or Becca's the one that's had seen the ghost first. So one of the two. No. Because that was because they like the, yeah. So if anything, there's a good chance it may have been Becca that's seen the ghost earlier than anyone else. Maybe. I don't know. It begins innocently enough. Tuesday morning arrived like any other day before it, bright and clear. Even though it comes with an extra helping of the unusual October weather, I appreciate being able to catch a glimpse of the clear skies lately. After going through a bout of sickness last week, it does something to lift the mood of what would otherwise be a dreary morning. Despite being mostly a creature of habit, I wind up waking earlier than usual because of it. Still not earlier than Isabel appears. I think the news is playing. Wait. Wait. So we ended on that. This one of the 2 days. Okay, so it's on the 23rd, yeah, that the news occurs. I've assumed she'll take a day or two off because of what happened to Miss Cooper, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Sound of morning news drifts from her unit when I wake past on the way to my mailbox. Chances are around this hour she's already dressed and ready to go, probably just waiting for the next bus to arrive. I've tried following her example before, but I don't think I'll be repeating that.
Really? How can anyone be up before the sun is up?
It's a habit she got from home, she said, installed in her by the kind of life she's grown up in. My clockwork, it's always at 4 a.m., either to help with the chores or prepare her little siblings for school. It surprised me the first time she didn't look like someone who could. In the end, I've suddenly passed it off as one of many things anyone will have to get used to around her. Not that I'll ever fully understand. And I'm my parents' only child. We weren't well off, but so far I've lived a relatively easy life. I didn't have to think about bills or food for the next day, or paying for any siblings' tuition on the top of my own, or supporting a sick father's medication. All I have to worry about were my grades. If it gained Mom and Dad's approval, what we'd be having for dinner, when put next to hers, they all pale in comparison. Look less like problems and more like petty issues this way.
Petty issues?
But as unimportant as it all sounds, sometimes its ugly head rears at the most inappropriate moments. Sometimes they come through your mailbox in the form of fancy-looking letter, pretty ribbons and all. Whoever sent this has spent silly money on the envelope alone. Verging on ridiculous, really. I can never imagine Isabel wrinkling her nose when she sees this, then she'll complain about unnecessary expenses and rich people problems. I'm almost afraid to touch it myself. As if simply brushing a hand against its crisp surface will be enough to put a crease on it, and it'll be a terrible slight to the sender. Wait, what? Hold on, let me look back. There'll be a terrible slight. Okay, I did read that right. For some reason that sounded weird, but okay. As extravagant as I find this, it is really the first time I've received one. Most of the time, it's not for me, so who am I to complain? Either way, no look of surprise crosses my face once I flip the envelope over to see my parents' names written in a neat script.
Nothing new then.
3 years in the academy naturally brought with it various connections. People from other fields, art, science, business, politics, you name it. This one, though, gives off a much personal vibe. Letters like this usually come from old students, people who'd grown fond of my parents, and they in turn treat like children of their own. I've only met a few of them. Most have... bear with. Most have moved on to become successful in their chosen careers, and little letters like this are their way of expressing gratitude. It's one thing Mom and Dad are proud of, rightfully so, and I'm happy for them. But there are times I wish they'll remember they have a daughter here. The real one. Not that's of any importance now. Oh gosh. So, Leo, are you coming in, Leo? Leo. My dog does not know what he wants. He just came in, opened the door, looked at me, just walked off. Like I wasn't paying attention to him. Anyways, it's not like they didn't raise me well and then provided for me. They did, and I wouldn't be where I am now if it weren't for their hard work. Like a dutiful child, I do everything I can to give back. Even if it's the small things that's letting them know they've got another mail waiting for them. Phone rings for a good minute before someone answers. Mom, her voice is as warm as I can remember.
Hi, Mum. How's the conference going?
Well enough. Until your dad sprained his ankle.
Oh no, is it bad?
I'm alright. In case anyone in this family cares to listen, I'm alright. Very much alive, darling.
And there
Okay.
you have it. He'll be up and walking in a few weeks, don't worry. We're going to have to extend our stay here until it heals, though. Is something the matter?
Nothing big. Just that this mail arrived for you this morning.
A lie. Thankfully, she doesn't notice. Although, if I'm going to be honest, a small part of me yearns for her to do so and asks about it. But I put down that idea almost as soon as that surfaces. I shouldn't make them fret. They're busy.
What does it say?
Raise your glasses, give cheers to the good times, blah blah.
Becca manners. That isn't how I taught you to read.
Sorry. You are cordially... it's an invitation, Mum, for a housewarming party. From, Hannah?
The name rings a bell, though at the moment I can't recall when or where I've heard it recently. It must be nothing too important if I didn't bother committing it to memory. There are a lot of Hannahs in this world, so who knows?
Hannah.
She also wrote you a note, Mum. It says you used to be her private tutor at the Evans mansion, and that she misses you and would love to see you two again.
It makes my heart clench to read another openly say those words to them. Same ones I want to tell them. I want to see you too. It's been years since I've been together as family, and if there's one thing that hasn't changed from childhood, it's that Mom and Dad are still busy with their respective careers. Out of the country, away on some meeting or symposium, sometimes from months on end. It only grew more frequent with the year until I'm old enough to live on my own. I'd like to think that's how I've become independent at such an early age. They've always praised me for that. At times I wish they didn't.
Evans? Oh, I remember now. Honey, it's Hannah. Hannah Evans. Remember? Bright girl, 2 years older than Becca?
Didn't she get married a few years ago? 7 now, I think. But they grow up so fast, these kids.
Yeah, she invited us to that too. Fonte de Medici. But we missed that one because you had to present your paper in Singapore.
We did send her a note after. Still a shame we couldn't attend, though. What is it about this time?
She sent another invite for a housewarming party. Becca, when is it?
This Friday, Mum.
Oh, that's too bad. We'd love to be there, but Da's not in a condition to go walking around.
Something seems to always occur, doesn't it?
I guess we'd have to decline again. I really miss that girl.
I could go in your place.
I let slip without thinking. Personally, I've never been fond of gatherings, regardless how simple people make it seem. But if there's one thing I hate hearing, that disappointing note in Mum's voice always rings first. Whether it's directed at me or some other thing that doesn't matter.
Are you sure? Don't you have work this Friday?
The event will be in the evening, Mum. It shouldn't take anything away from my schedule.
Schedule?
It's all right. The invite's for 2 people. I can bring someone with me so things don't get boring.
I see. Maybe you can also invite Ashton?
Mum, that's a sure no from him. He hates attending parties.
And she'd be embarrassed.
But I'll see what I can do. If not, I can always bring Isabella with me. You know her. She won't say no if there's food involved.
Okay, if it's not going to be a big problem for you, I don't see why not. We owe you this one, darling.
No problem, Mum. I'll even say hi to Hana for you.
Please do. And let her know we'd love to see her once we're back in the city. Leave her our number or something.
I will.
But you know, the two of you would have become really good friends.
Would've?
Don't you remember? You met with her once. If my memory serves me right, you were 12 then?
This too, I can't recall. It's probably one of those meetings where we only talked a bit before going our ways. If she did leave an impression, I'm pretty sure I would have written about it somewhere or at least recognized her name. As it is, the only few people I remember clearly from that time in my life is Ashton and Mandy. To some extent. Mum must have sensed my confusion because she
Don't
laughed.
push yourself too hard, darling. Really? It felt like having two daughters back then. Sometimes I wish they didn't send her away to boarding school. But, well, you know how often that goes with them. Still, try talking to her while you're there.
Oh, we'll see. I'll let you know what happens after.
I'm looking forward to it, darling. Take care of yourself.
Will do. You too, Mum. Bye. Tell Da to be careful next time.
She chuckled, and then a hearty one, tender and always light on my ears. She may be a stern teacher, but this is the part of her I love the most. The sound of it still echoes even as our call comes to an abrupt end, bringing with it a memory from so many years ago. When life and responsibilities that accompany adulthood are things far from our minds. If given the chance, I'd love to give back to those. I don't dwell on it, though, shaking it all the way almost as soon as the memory forms a clear picture in my head. I've always wondered how Isabelle can easily pretend everything's normal over a phone call, then bounce back to her usual self immediately after. I've seen her do it plenty of times. For me, it just drains whatever energy I have. And with the whole day teaching still ahead of me, I can't afford to look exhausted in front of my students. Even for a wee bit, it's never a good example to set. So with another sigh, I put everything at the back of my mind and tread back to my room. The rest of my day waits. 15 minutes later, I hang back out, dressed for the day, my car keys in hand. Ordinarily, I don't stop for anything. There's never a need to. That's the beauty of this apartment complex. It's quiet and everyone keeps to themselves. No useless platitudes in the morning, no need to wear a smile on your face lest other people are nosy enough to ask. Today, however, the morning broadcast still plays from Isabelle's room. Brisk pace slows to a stop and frown gradually forms my face.
She hasn't left.
Of course, this isn't unusual. There are times when I've left earlier than she did. Like last Friday before their open house. But those days are few and far between. It only happens in the dire circumstances, though the last part of that might be a bit of an exaggeration. However, with what's happened the last few days, maybe today is one. The death of a friend isn't something anyone can brush off, and for someone like Isabella's the kind who gets attached to people easily. Zachary, Ashton, and I, that has been the case. Can't imagine what she might be going through right now, especially when the woman was someone she owed a lot, despite their training being brief. I've given her space last night in deference, but perhaps today might be a proper time to check on her.
Whatever. I've still got time anyway.
With light steps, I move closer to the door. Hand array poised to knock. So I don't do so until I hear her
Isabella?
answering.
Belle? Are you in there?
No answer. After a second, I finally knock lightly so I don't disturb her, in case she's sleeping and has merely left the telly running last night. Never mind, however, she never lets that happen, ever. Waste of electricity and all.
I just want to check on you before I leave. Is that okay?
Maybe she's not there? Because I did choose to leave to go to work.
Are you going to work today? Belle? I'm
Still
about
nothing.
to leave. If you want, I can drop you off.
Another round of knocking. Then I'm fishing out a copy of her key from my bag and locking the door. She had lent it years ago after I complained about the mess and offered my help in cleaning up. I thought the gesture was completely unnecessary back then. After all, I could always knock. But she never did bother taking them from me. Always returning it or turning away from the conversation whenever I insist. At one point, I simply stopped trying to hand it back
Isabella?
to her.
I'm coming in, all right?
As that occurs, my dog comes in. Hello, Leo. I'm going to show you on the camera now. Come on, get up. Yip, yip. Yep, this is all being kept, most likely. You just stay put, Leo. Well, I'm done. Or till I'm done, which is almost time, actually. So without waiting for her answer, I pushed the door open and stepped inside. Her unit's still a mess. Sitting noodle cups on the table, a pile of clothes on one side, papers strewn about everywhere, and an unkept bed among other things. This is a given. Well, this much is a given. Will always be a given. I've been here several times already, and I still wonder how she can function like a human being being in a place like in this state. However, that's neither here nor there. I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but certainly not finding an empty flat. Granted, she could have left earlier, far earlier than usual. But she never ever leaves without making sure she's unplugged everything. That's something she doesn't forget to do. It doesn't help that her bathroom appears unused this morning. Another habit, and it can only mean she hasn't been here since. Last night? Perhaps. No, because I was thinking maybe she's at Zach's place, but that was after she's worked. And that occurred at night, not in the morning. Perhaps even since the morning after Miss Cooper's death. Either idea doesn't sit well with me. What with the news we've been hearing
The
lately.
authorities are still trying to find the cause of death for all the victims. Early investigation revealed most of them were employed under Briar Realty Corporation at the time of death. Meanwhile, BRC has refused to comment on this.
Gathering my wits, I immediately place a call to her mobile. And... wait... I can go see... This is after... Oh... So we skipped a couple days. Because we were either on the 21st or 22nd, I don't remember. But either way, it's still a couple days past. So she is at Zach's place right now. Rings for a good minute, the sound of comfort in itself, but when another minute rolls by without her answer, well, I'm not a woman prone to panicking, some bouts of temper maybe, but never panic, despite how I may sound when speaking. And when it ultimately goes straight to her voicemail, sigh is the only thing I let out. The pause doesn't last long, though. The next moment, my fingers are already moving across the screen in search of two people who might be able to help. It's Ashton's number I find first and dial. Call it a habit, but even Isabel thinks that he's dependable when the situation calls for it. Despite how much they give each other grief, that already says a lot about him, and my nose feeling very itchy like I'm gonna sneeze. There's Zachary, but around this hour he's probably still sleeping if he has freelance work. Very likely he's just got himself in bed. He's the last person I want to bother, if anything. The wait doesn't take long. Well, you call her. Okay. I'm just saying, since Ashton's never answered so quickly. No sooner clicked than Ashton's voice echoes through the receiver. Rough and still heavy with sleep. Never did grow fond of mornings.
Christ, what time is it? What's up?
Not you, apparently.
Good one. Did you call us early just to make that joke? I'm going back to sleep.
No, Ash, hold on. This is important.
Becca, stakeout last night. Make this quick. I've still got a few hours before the chief bothers me.
Sorry, I'll let you go back to sleep after. It's just that... Wait, you were on a stakeout last night?
Okay, changing topic.
Did I say that? Shit. Forget I said that. Forget I said anything. Forget we had this conversation.
Okay,
So,
Ashton.
you have no idea.
About what? About what? I also have no idea why we're talking so early in the morning, so there's that.
The fuck was that? Okay, I heard him say about what twice.
No, will you stop sleep talking or whatever for a second? Belle didn't come home last night. She's gone.
Who?
Isabella!
Instead of an answer, a brief pause comes after, followed by something blunt and heavy hitting a hard surface and a string of rather colorful curses from him. I can imagine he just himself. Okay? This moment might have been one of the many things I'll keep to myself and remember fondly in the next few days if things aren't the way they are. When he picks up again, there's no trace of sleep left in his voice.
Say that again, from the top.
Isabella's gone, Ash. She didn't come home last night. Her flat's empty. She left her telly running. You know she doesn't do that at...
Okay, Becca, stop. Calm down first. You're starting to panic.
Yeah, she
I'm
is.
not!
Yeah, you're panicking.
You are. Breathe. One person's not going to simply disappear like that. This is Isabella we're talking about. Did you try calling her?
What did you think is the first thing I did? She's not picking up. It went to her voicemail.
How about Zach? Did you check with him?
Not yet. I didn't want to bother him. You know he has trouble sleeping and all that.
Alright, I'll go ask Zach. I'll call you back.
No, wait!
He ends the call before I could utter a single word of protest. But for the first time since entering this room, tension's gone from my shoulders and my breathing has eased. The bed creaks as I sink down on it with a sigh. Telly still blares the same uninteresting news, and I'm surrounded by clutter. All the same, it feels strangely calm to be here without worry nagging at me. I'll have to apologize to Zachary later for sending Ashton his way this early, but for now, relying on that latter for this isn't the wrong choice. It never will be. There's something I won't ever doubt in him, much like his promises. And true to his word, he calls back only a few minutes after the last one has
She's with
ended.
Zach.
Okay. Well, I'm going to end it here though before I continue because I'm like, I can keep going, but I'm recorded enough as is with this video. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like or up button. If you want to see more and find out what happens next with Becky or something I make, with the subscribe or follow button to be notified. Got anything to say, save some comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Comrades.